The war is over. Europe climbs onto two wheels because four wheels cost too much. Vespa and Lambretta turn the scooter into a symbol of freedom, a machine you ride to work in a suit and your wife rides to market in a dress. NSU is the biggest motorcycle maker on the continent, building machines that win Grand Prix races on Sunday and sell on Monday. In Japan, a mechanic named Soichiro Honda runs a small factory making clip-on engines for bicycles. He dreams bigger than anyone in the room. The world does not know his name yet. The scooter is not a motorcycle, and that is the point. A Vespa hides the engine behind stamped steel bodywork, so your clothes stay clean. Piaggio builds a factory outside Pontedera that pumps out thousands a week. Lambretta answers from Milan. By the mid-1950s, Europe is moving on two wheels and a step-through frame. It is not transportation, it is liberation. And it is about to be eclipsed by a machine from Japan that nobody sees coming. Honda ships the Super Cub. A plastic leg shield keeps the mud off your trousers. A centrifugal clutch means no hand lever. A four-stroke engine that sips fuel and never breaks. The ad said you meet the nicest people on a Honda, and suddenly motorcycles are not for outlaws. They are for secretaries and students and farmers and everyone. Honda wins the Isle of Man TT, and the European factories realize they are not competing with a better version of themselves. They are competing with a different species. By 1965, Honda is the largest motorcycle manufacturer on Earth. The Super Cub has sold 5 million units, and it is only getting started. Yamaha begins as a piano company, and Suzuki begins as a loom company, and both decide the same thing at the same moment. The motorcycle market is big enough for more than one Japanese name. Their first bikes are two-stroke copies of German designs, because that is what everyone copies. But the copies get better. Then the copies get faster. Then the copies start winning races. Kawasaki joins them, an aircraft company that looks at the motorcycle and sees a fighter jet shrunk to two wheels. The Japanese are no longer copying, they are leading. Now the Blitz. Yamaha ships the DT1 and invents dirt biking out of thin air. Kawasaki drops the Z1, a 903cc double overhead cam 4 that hits 130 miles an hour off the showroom floor. And then the one that changes everything, the CB754. A transverse inline 4 engine, electric start. Front disc brake, 125 miles an hour, at a price that makes the British industry look like it is building motorcycles by candlelight. Because it is. The Japanese Big Four now produce more motorcycles in a week than the rest of the world produces in a year. The old order is not losing. It is already gone. Norton bets everything on the Commando, a 750cc parallel twin that isolates the engine from the frame with rubber mounts. It wins Motorcycle News Bike of the Year 5 years in a row. But the factory in Bracebridge Street is old, and the tooling is older. The Japanese assemble bikes with micrometer tolerances. The British assemble them with hammers. The Commando is the best motorcycle Britain ever built. It is also the last. Norton goes under, BSA vanishes. The British motorcycle industry, which once supplied the world, simply stops. Honda opens a factory in Marysville, Ohio, and begins building Goldwings on American soil. The Goldwing is a machine built to cross continents, a horizontally opposed 4-cylinder engine wrapped in a promise that the ride never has to end. Honda introduces the CBX with 6 cylinders and an exhaust note that sounds like a Formula One car. Yamaha ships the Virago, a V-twin cruiser that proves Japan can build a Harley competitor on its own terms. The Japanese now own 80% of the global market. The remaining 20% is fighting over scraps. AMF buys Harley-Davidson in 1969, and the next 10 years become a cautionary tale taught in business schools. The bowling equipment conglomerate demands more bikes, faster, cheaper, quality collapses, oil leaks onto the showroom floor. A generation of American riders learns to hate the motorcycles they love. In 1981, 13 senior executives led by Von Beals scraped together the money to buy the company back. Then they persuade the Reagan administration to impose a 45% tariff on imported heavyweight motorcycles. The motorcycle that will save Harley-Davidson does not exist yet, but the breathing room does. Harley-Davidson uses its tariff shield and petitions to end it early. The company no longer needs government protection. In India, Hero and Honda shake hands and the CD100 rolls off a line in Daruhara. Nobody in the West notices. But 30 years from now, this factory will be the center of the two-wheeler universe. Suzuki drops the GSXR 750, a race bike with a license plate and a headlight, and the sport bike era begins. A motorcycle is no longer just transportation, it is a statement. Ducati builds a V-twin with desmodromic valves that close mechanically instead of relying on springs. It is an engineering solution to a problem nobody else has because nobody else revs their engines this high. The 916 with its single-sided swing arm and underseat exhausts turns a motorcycle into a sculpture that happens to move. MV Agusta builds 4-cylinder race bikes that win 17 consecutive 500cc world championships. The machines are temperamental, they leak, they demand constant attention, and the people who love them do not care. A motorcycle built in Bologna or Varese is not competing on reliability, it is competing on soul. Kawasaki's ZZR 1100 cracks 176 miles per hour, and the speed war is official. Triumph rises from the grave and opens a factory in Hinckley, building modern triples under a name that everyone thought was dead. BMW's R1100 GS redefines the adventure touring category. Hero Honda sells its 1 millionth bike and keeps going. And in China, factories that once built tractors are quietly retooling for something the world does not see coming. The basic 125cc commuter bike costs less than a refrigerator. By the end of the decade, China is the largest motorcycle producer on Earth. In 1991, KTM files for insolvency. The Austrian dirt bike maker is legally dead. Then Stefan Pierer buys the remains and makes a bet that nobody in the industry thinks will work. He bets that young riders in emerging markets want performance, not just transportation. He bets on India. Bajaj buys a 14.5% stake, and the Duke 390 is born, an Indian-built performance bike sold on every continent. 20 years after bankruptcy, KTM overtakes BMW as Europe's largest motorcycle manufacturer. A company that was legally dead now leads the continent. Suzuki's Hayabusa breaks 190 miles per hour, and the speed wars end because the manufacturers agree to stop. The Honda Goldwing grows a flat 6 and an airbag. A touring motorcycle now parks itself in reverse. TVS closes in on Bajaj, narrowing the gap to just 149,000 units. The hierarchy is shifting. Hero and Honda end their 27-year marriage. Hero keeps the factories and the dealer network. The world's largest motorcycle market is being fought over by companies that did not exist when the Super Cub launched. In 1994, Royal Enfield sells fewer than 10,000 motorcycles. The factory in Chennai still uses tooling from the 1950s. The Bullet is the same motorcycle it was when India gained independence, and the only reason anyone buys it is that nothing else looks quite so old. Then Siddhartha Lal takes over at age 26 and makes a decision that sounds insane. He decides to build a new engine, not a Japanese copy, not a licensed design. A new engine from a company that has not designed one since Winston Churchill was in office. The Himalayan and the 650 twin that follow do not just sell. They redefine what an Indian motorcycle is allowed to be. The new giants rise. Yamaha sells 4 million electric scooters in a year and lists on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange for billions. Royal Enfield sells more bikes than all of Italy. Harley-Davidson launches the live wire and bets the farm on a future where the engine does not rumble. BMW's S1000RR arrives with asymmetrical headlights and a message. Germany is not just building touring bikes anymore. The world's largest vehicle market is now electric two-wheelers. It is not even close. In China, 200 million electric two-wheelers are already on the road. Yamaha is worth more than most legacy motorcycle brands combined. Hero MotoCorp launches Vita, TVS ships the iQube across India. Harley-Davidson spins LiveWire into its own public company. The internal combustion engine has powered every motorcycle since 1885. It will not power the next 100 years. The question is not whether the industry goes electric. The question is, which legacy brands survive the transition, and which become case studies in the same textbooks that teach the story of Norton and BSA. The decade of the battery begins. Honda has sold 500 million motorcycles, more than any other vehicle in history, more than the Model T, more than the Corolla, more than anything with wheels. It took the company 48 years to reach its first 100 million. The last 100 million took just 6 years, but the next 500 million will not sound the same. The race has changed. The race is still on.